Kenneth Rowe has passed away. You may not recognize his name, but he lived a remarkable and newsworthy life. Born in 1932 in what is today North Korea, Kenneth's parents named him No Kum-sok. But this area being occupied by Japan at the time, according to Japanese law, he was also required to have a Japanese name, which was Okamura Kiyoshi. No's father was a baseball player. As a young teen at the start of World War II, he supported the Japanese and dreamed of being a kamikaze pilot. But his father was adamantly against it. Over the course of the war, his support shifted to the USA, but he had to keep his feelings secret. In early 1948, a teenage No attended a speech by Kim Il-sung. Though No was opposed to communism, he found Kim to be a capable orator. However, No had to keep his anti-communist views hidden due to the danger of what would happen if North Korean authorities had found out about them. With the start of the Korean War in 1950, No joined the Naval Academy, then the Navy, eventually passing flight training and rising to the rank of senior lieutenant. He flew more than 100 combat missions during the war. This was when his life took a turn toward the remarkable. On the morning of September 21, 1953, No flew his MiG-15 from just outside Pyongyang to Kimpo Air Base in South Korea. The time from takeoff in North Korea to landing in South Korea was 17 minutes, with the MiG reaching 1,000 kilometers per hour, 620 miles per hour. U.S. radar near Kimpo had been shut down temporarily that morning for routine maintenance. No landed the wrong way on the runway, almost hitting an F-86 Saberjet landing at the same time in the opposite direction. Captain Dave William veered out of the way and exclaimed over the radio, "It's a goddamn MiG!" Another American pilot, Captain Jim Sutton, who was circling the airport, said that if No had tried to land in the right direction, he would have been spotted and shot down. No taxied the MiG into a free parking spot between two Saberjets, got out of the plane, and began tearing up a picture of Kim Il-sung that was placed in the cockpits of North Korean aircraft, and then threw up his arms in surrender at approaching airbase security guards. No later wrote in his memoirs, "I unfastened my oxygen mask and breathed free air for the first time in my life. Nobody seemed to know what to do. I shouted, 'Motor car, motor car, motor car,' which was about the only English I remembered from high school, hoping that someone would bring an automobile to drive me to headquarters." After being taken into custody and debriefed by a CIA operative, No received a $100,000 reward, equivalent to a little over $1 million today, that was offered by Operation Moolah for being the first pilot to defect with an operational aircraft. He said he'd never heard of the award before his defection. No explained that North Korean pilots were not allowed to listen to South Korean radio. The leaflets broadcasting the award were not dropped in Manchuria, where the pilots were based, and even if they had heard about the reward, the pilots would not have understood the purchasing power of the U.S. dollar. He said the program would have been more effective if they had offered a good job and residence in North America. After No surrendered his aircraft, it was taken to Okinawa, where it was given U.S. Air Force markings and test flown by Captain H.E. Collins and Major Chuck Yeager. The MiG-15 was later shipped to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Arriving in San Francisco, North Korean pilot No Kum-sok, who last September received $100,000 for piloting a Russian MiG jet fighter to U.S. territory, reveals that more Russians than Koreans flew for the Red Forces. He'll return to South Korea after a year of study in the U.S.
In 1954, No emigrated to the United States, Vice President Richard Nixon. After immigrating, he anglicized his name to Kenneth H. Rowe. In 1957, he was joined in the U.S. by his mother, who had defected from North Korea in 1951. He subsequently graduated from the University of Delaware with degrees in mechanical and electrical engineering. He married an émigré from North Korea. They raised 2 sons and a daughter, and he became a U.S. citizen. He worked in companies such as Boeing, Pan Am, and General Motors. In 1996, he wrote and published a book, A MiG-15 to Freedom, about his defection and previous life in North Korea. Rowe retired in 2000 after working 17 years as an aeronautical engineering professor at the Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. A biography of Rowe by Blaine Harden was published in 2015 as The Great Leader and the Fighter Pilot, the true story of the tyrant who created North Korea and the young lieutenant who stole his way to freedom. Rowe spoke fluent English and Korean and lived in Daytona Beach, Florida, where he died on December 26, 2022. At the time of his death, Rowe was survived by his wife, daughter, younger son, and one grandson. In his biography, he stated that he had never second-guessed his decision to defect from North Korea and make a new life in America.